All right, so this morning is dedicated to middle children. Anyone here a middle child? So if you're a middle child, you know how difficult this is. You get smushed in the middle of the family, overlooked, neglected, compared, weighed. And being the middle child is very different. It's a whole psychology of being middle children. Being the middle patriarch is difficult as well. Poor Isaac is flanked on one side by Abraham, who's the great hero of faith, and on the other side by Yaakov, who is the namesake of the people, and also a remarkably vivid personality. And Yitzchak, Isaac, gets no press. I mean, he gets almost no attention in terms of the text. This morning's text is that transition between the two giants, between Abraham on the one side and Jacob on the other. Last week's Torah portion was entirely about Abraham, about the tests and trials and development of the character of Abraham. And next week is going to be entirely about Yaakov. We're already going to introduce Yaakov, Jacob, and talk about his boyhood and his character, the development of his character. This week's Torah portion is stuck in the middle. It's really literally stuck in the middle, and it's really the only time that Isaac has anything to do. And the problem is, you'll see right away, is that he has nothing to do in this Torah portion. In the beginning of the Torah portion, it's called Chayei Sarah because it begins with the death of Sarah. And Sarah is going to die. Now remember, the curious thing about the end of the last Torah portion was that when Abraham finishes the Akedah, when they finish the binding of Isaac, he goes where? He goes to Beersheba. Now, the problem with going to Beersheba is he don't live in Beersheba. He lives in Hebron. He lives in Kiryat Arba. By the way, who does live in Beersheba? For trivia, who's that? Hagar, right, the girlfriend, okay? The concubine, pick your name. He doesn't go home, and none of the characters actually see each other again after that story. That story of the binding of Isaac is so explosive that it blows the family apart, and that nobody can see each other. Abraham finds out that Sarah has died. The Midrash connects these two, of course, by saying that when Sarah found out what Abraham was going to do to her only son, she died of fright, or she died of rage, or she died of broken heart. She dies, and he comes to bury her. Now, the beginning of the Torah portion is touching, and the rest of it's kind of a real estate deal. Vayuchayich Sarah, take a look at page 127. It's interesting that it's 127, because that's how long she lives. Vayuchayich Sarah, 100 shana ve'esrim shana ve'sheva shanim, shnei chayei Sarah. That's the years of chayei Sarah. She lived 127 years. And if you stop and think about this woman's life, it's a strange life, this woman's life. She's sort of ripped out of her world by her religious fanatic husband, schlepped to a wasteland. As soon as they get there, there's famine in that wasteland, which was predictable. So they schlepp down to Egypt. In Egypt, he pimps her to the Pharaoh. Pharaoh takes her, can't touch her because God is protecting her. Then he does it again to Abimelech. She doesn't have a kid into her 90s. She gives the maid to Abraham, Hagar to Abraham, please, don't try this at home. She has the kid. That torments Sarah, that she's not the one who's having the child. Finally, Sarah gets pregnant at the age of 90. Don't try that at home. Okay, she gives birth. The Ishmael and Hagar is sent out of the home. Sarah lives and then has to endure the torturous absence of Abraham and Isaac at the Akedah. It's a very difficult life, and she finally dies. Now Hebron, in the land of Canaan, Abraham proceeds to mourn her. The Hebrew is much better than that, right? Vayavo Avraham lispod Sarah. Vayavo Avraham, he came, either physically he came to Hebron to be where she was, but more than that, something else happens to him. In all of these adventures of Abraham, Sarah is always by his side, often the victim of his adventures, and he never seems to take account of that. She doesn't seem to have a role in his thinking, his calculus. At no point does he stop and say, I'm not going to do this because it would be bad for my wife. She doesn't really have a role in any of this. She is sort of the silent partner in the whole thing. And then finally, There's one word here. There's one word which sort of changes the whole valence of the story. It's the next word, v'liv kota, which means to cry for her. And you didn't need that word in that sentence. You could have just said, vayavo Avraham lispod l'Sarah. He came to mourn for his wife. And that would have been enough. But the Torah adds that word, liv kota. And to show you what it means, liv kota, to make you pay attention to that word. If you look in the Hebrew, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines down, right? You see how there's one little letter? That's the way it's written in the Torah. In the Torah has a standard calligraphy. It is all the letters at the same size. But there are half a dozen places in Torah, maybe half a dozen, where there are scriptural anomalies that have been literally written into the calligraphy. There's a place where there's some dots over letters and places where there's double nuns, strange things. This is one of these very, very rare anomalies. And the letter kaf is small. So first of all, you're going to notice that word. He comes to be with her, he comes to mourn her, liv kota, and he cries for her. He hasn't cried the whole story. He didn't cry when God told him to sacrifice his kid. He didn't cry when he had to send Ishmael out into the world. He didn't cry when he had to leave home. He hasn't wept, cried, shown very much emotion at all. And all of a sudden, he's crying? Suddenly, Abraham realizes that all of these years she's been with him, she's been his partner, she's been his other, his chavrusa, his opposite, and suddenly without her, he feels liv kota. Now, the interesting thing is, if you want to have some fun with this, the letter that's small is the middle letter of the word, and it's a kaf. The letter kaf is named for kaf, your hand. Kaf, that's a kaf in Hebrew, the palm of your hand. To have a little kaf means your power is diminished. Your hand is diminished. He is diminished by the death of his wife, and he feels it for the first time. So suddenly, Father Abraham is feeling things he never felt before. He is feeling the loss of this woman. This hurts. That's how the Torah portion starts. Then the next section of the portion is about how we're going to bury him. Jerry. Right. It happens twice, by the way. I mean, this guy has a problem, you know. Right. Yeah, he was. Lola, you're welcome to hit him now. It would be just an elbow would be just fine. Go ahead. I know you're much more cultured for that, but in this context, it would be just fine. No, it's exactly right. He doesn't see her. And this happens to couples. It's one of the things that you warn them about when they get married. They become furniture in each other's lives until there's a loss, and then there's this terrible sense of what did I lose? And I think that's the moment that the Torah is pointing to at this point. Yes, please, Michael.
I think what's interesting is that it demonstrates that there's not one patriarch, not one hero. All of these things that it's not fallible.
Yeah, fallible isn't even the word. That's not just, doesn't have his moments of being morally disgusting, is more like it. Fallible is, fallible. I mean, but this guy murders both of his kids. I mean, come on. I mean, this is, and Jacob is worse. I mean, this is, so what do you get? So the impression is what? You did not get this covenant from God because you were righteous people. You understand that if God were looking for righteous people, he would have chosen people in Iceland or Norway or someplace. Not here. I mean, because you didn't get this covenant because you're such tzaddikim. You got this covenant either out of grace or out of the hope that you might develop into something, but not because you're tzaddikim. That's the whole point of the narrative. The connection, the distinction or the exceptionalism of this people is not its moral genius.
It's as if God is trying to drag these people to that
To that place, right.
and they keep pulling back.
No kidding. And to this day, by the way. But let's not go there. That's for the sermon later in the service, right? We're getting there. Now, the rest of this section is an exquisitely detailed description of a property transaction. Abraham is going to buy a cave in Hebron, a cave called Machpelah, which literally means dual, a double cave. And he's going to buy it from the people who live in the land, but there's the people of the land, there's a way of doing this. I don't know if you've ever been involved in business deals in other cultures, but every culture has its own way of carrying out a business deal, right? Every culture has its own way, and it's different in different cultures. So, like, if, for example, in Japan, if people ever do business in Japan, there's a very special way of carrying this out. How you engage in the negotiation, how the negotiation proceeds, and how the negotiation concludes. And here, if you just read this, you can see the exquisite ballet of manners. There's a ballet, a dance of manners here, where the Hittites who live there say, come look at the beginning of, top of page 128, right? Abraham shows up and says, I want to buy some land. And the Hittites say to him, here, my Lord, you are the elect of God. Bury your dead in the choicest of our burial place. None of us will withhold this burial place from you, from burying your dead. You're an important guy. Take any place you want. It's all yours. It's all yours. But Abraham knows how to read this. Abraham bowed low. You have to show honor. My God, what a lovely... If it is your wish that I remove my dead for burial, intercede with me, with Ephron. Let him sell me the cave of Machpelah. You know, thank you for the offer, but I want to buy it. Okay, so maybe if you want to help me so much, go ask Ephron if he'll sell me the cave of Ephron. So Ephron comes up. Ephron's in the community, and Ephron, who is the Hittite, says, Ephron was present. Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in a hearing, who entered the gate, and he said, no, my Lord, hear me. I give you the field. I give you the cave that is in it. I give it to you in the presence of my people. Bury your dead. Gesundheit, take it. However you say Gesundheit in Hittite. And then Abraham bowed low before the people and spoke to Ephron, saying, oh, if only you would hear me out. Let me pay the price of the land. Accept it from me, that I may bury the dead. Why doesn't he want to accept it as a gift? Well, yeah, and gifts have strings attached. But more than that, it's not that Ephron really wants to give it to him as a gift. This is the negotiation. This is how you do it. If you're from another country, by the way, and you try to buy a car in America, God help you. Have you ever watched, anyone here ever bought a car in a dealership? Right? And there's a transaction, and you got to know the transaction. You know, the guy names a price. Yeah, absolutely. And you say, oh, what a wonderful price. Oh, what I love this car. But alas, that's far above my range. And far above what Consumer Report says the car is worth. If only you could sell me the car for, and you name a number 20% less than that. And the guy says, oh, that's even lower than the manufacturer's invoice, which I happen to have here. There's no way my manager will ever approve of such a thing. And you say, oh, if only the manager could see his way to helping a poor Hebrew school teacher to buy this Mercedes-Benz. If only the manager had a soul as big as yours and could say, and the gentleman says, you know, maybe today is the day that his soul expands. I will go check. And he goes off and he comes. You ever play this game with these guys, right? It is such a ballet. It is such a, you know, if only, you know. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Like, I want to see if you go to Ralph's and you want to buy, you know, a box of cereal. You do. If only you'd sell me the cereal, you know. They said, what? It's $2.49. Either pay for it or get out of line, schmuck. You know, I mean, But the funny thing is, in America, the more expensive something is, the more primitive the capitalism is, right? If you buy a box of cereal at the supermarket, it has a price. You pay for it, you walk out. If you're buying a house or a car, or a building or a country, you pay for it. It's this whole ballet of. So here it goes. Ready? So here's Ephron, right? Where am I? What page are we on here? 129, right. Here's Ephron. And Abraham says to Ephron, oh no, if only you would hear me out. Right? Let me pay the price of the land, accept it from me that I may bury my dead. And Ephron says, oh no, my Lord, do hear me. A piece of land worth 400 shekels? What's that between you and me? You see what just happened? Go bury your dead. And Abraham accepted Ephron's terms. See, so you don't actually, because it would be dishonorable to say, pay me 400 shekels of the land, right? You keep offering to give it to him for free, but you mentioned that it's 400 shekels, right? And Abraham doesn't want to, now it's interesting, by the way, because having seen what Abraham did to God at Sodom, you would have thought Abraham would have got him down. I mean, he's Jewish. Get him down. Don't accept the retail price. He's going to pay retail for this. This is the only time in Jewish history any Jew ever paid retail. 400 shekels. Do I hear 350 shekels? No. Abraham, first of all, he's bereft. He's bereaved. He's mourning. And second of all, he doesn't want to create an impression in the land that he's this kind of guy. So he's going to pay for it. He's going to pay full price for it. And he buries his dead. And he buries her, right? Now he has a second problem. So problem number one is burying Sarah. Problem number two is the son who's unmarried. Okay? Neil. Well, yeah. Yeah. So tell me why. No, come on. You're the doctor. Tell me why. What are you trying to say? What are you worried about? Who owns the cave? Right. Who owns it? First of all, you're learning something about how a Jewish community works. Whenever Jewish communities moved to a new place, what was the very first institution they established? A cemetery. Right? That's why if you go to old Jewish communities, we lived in Dallas for many years, right? The synagogue in Dallas had its 100th birthday. The cemetery had its 125th birthday, right? You move to a new community, you set up a cemetery right away. That's the first thing you do. And the idea that you have to establish title to this land that's unquestioned. And it has to be owned by us, by the community. It can't be borrowed, it can't be lent. Right? This idea that we honor our dead by protecting them in our place. That's part of what this is about. Okay? Plus, this is the first legal formal achuzah in the land. We're going to take the land later. I mean, Abraham could have said to the Hittites, God gave me this land. You're all dead men. Give me the land. He doesn't do that. He buys the land. He wants no question about the ownership of this particular piece of property. I mean, ironically, today, it's in the middle of the city of Hebron, and the city of Hebron is heavily disputed right now because there are 800 Israelis and 800,000 Palestinians who live there. It's a very, very painful case of a conflict over a piece of land. Yes, please, Vaksha. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. See, we don't know what the burial customs were. Burial customs vary from generation to generation and from era to era. I don't know what the biblical burial custom was. I don't know. Today you'd say that you'd sit Shiva, and after Shiva, after 7 days of Shiva, Vayakom, you get up. Literally, that's what happens on the last day of Shiva. After Minyan, you get up, you take a walk around the block. We did that for your mama, remember? It's a remarkable statement that the intensity of my grief has now alleviated, and I'm ready to enter the world again in some fashion. So that's the current custom, okay? We don't know what biblical customs were. Mishnaic customs were a little different than ours even. They buried in caves and then buried the bones in ossuaries. So we have different customs than we did then. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that does not seem reasonable. Yeah, it would not seem reasonable. It would not seem reasonable. But you don't know what the custom is. Burial customs are interesting. There's, we're going to talk about this in terms of weddings in a moment. There's a certain amount of halakha that goes along with burial. And there's a lot of custom. I mean, halakha is you bury right away. Jewish law is you bury right away. Jewish law is you bury in simple garb, in a simple casket. You bury in the ground. Halakha is then you take 7 days, right? But then all the other kinds of stuff is customs. And different communities and different generations, different places have very, very different customs, right? I was taught when I was a kid that the or at least the custom of my family, which is Ashkenazic, was we don't go back to the cemetery for a year. That we wait a year to return to the cemetery. And it was explained to me that you don't live at the cemetery. You are obligated to make your way back into the world of the living, having lost a loved one. Persian families go back to the cemetery a week later. At the end of Shiva, the Persian family will go back to the cemetery and be with the deceased, right? It's a different custom. So we have lots and lots and lots of different. And then you have, on top of that, you have the addition of American customs, so long eulogies, American customs. So you have all of these different, these are a lot of customs. When it comes to death rituals, that's where you're going to get an amalgam of customs, because that's where you're going to get an amalgam of fear, superstition, reverence, emotion. It's all there in burial customs, right? So we have two life transitions in this Torah portion. The first is burial, and now we're going to move from burial to matrimony, right? To shidduch, right? Isaac is now 40 years old. It's time for him to get married, right? But Abraham doesn't want to marry him off to one of the girls in the neighborhood, to the Canaanites. The Israelite tribe always had a problem with Canaanites. You'll see later next week that when Esau marries a Canaanite woman, that's what really alienates him from his parents. But to go back to the old country is where we want to go. So we're going to send a servant. Abraham's too old to go. He's going to send a servant back to the old country to find a wife for his son Isaac. And the servant has a tremendous sense of reverence. Who is the girl who's going to be the matriarch of the community? Who is she? How do I know she's the right one? And so you see, here's the story. Now, once again, we're going to have a very carefully articulated dance of custom. How you go about engaging in matrimony. Okay? Now, today it's very different. Today you go on J-date, you find a girl, a boy, you go to coffee 3 times, you live together for 8 years, and then you meet the parents, and then you come in and then we have a wedding, and it's $150,000 at Century Plaza Hotel, and then that's how marriage works today. But in those days, it was a little different. Abraham was old, and he tells the servant, don't let my kid marry anybody here. So turn the page, right? So the servant, on page 132, the servant takes 10 of the master's camels, and he sets off. That's actually an anachronism. There were no camels in Israel at the time, but that's okay, right? And they go back to the old country, back to Aram Naharaim, back to Mesopotamia, back to where the family came from. And he made the camels kneel by the well, right? And he makes a prayer. Here's the beautiful prayer. It's on page 132, verse 12. And he said, O Lord, God of my master Abraham, grant me good fortune this day, and deal graciously with my master Abraham. Here I stand by the spring as the daughters of the townsmen come out to draw water. Let the maiden to whom I say, please lower your jar that I may drink, and who replies, drink, and I will also water your camels. Let her be the one whom you have decreed for your servant Isaac, and I shall know that you've dealt graciously with my master. Right? One of the great teachers at the Jewish Theological Seminary for Bible was a beautiful man named Yochanan Mufts, who had a beautiful literary imagination. And whenever Mufts taught this set of stories, he made his class read the novel Shogun. Anybody remember Shogun? It's about Japanese samurai and the warlord, because he wanted us to understand that the relationship between the servant and Abraham is the relationship of a samurai to his warlord. And if you remember in Shogun, there's this particular scene in Shogun where the warlord is about to be ambushed, and one of the samurais up on the hillside watching this, and he wants to warn his master that the ambush is coming, and there's no way to warn him, so the samurai throws himself off of the hillside. And when the warlord sees this, he knows that he's about to be ambushed. He stops the column. The idea that a servant is willing to give his all, his in life, he belongs body and soul to his warlord. That's the sensation here. Abraham is the Lord. And this servant, by the way, who is unnamed, later Abraham is going to identify us, or earlier, Abraham identifies someone named Eliezer, but it doesn't say that it's Eliezer. The tradition assumes that it's Eliezer, but we don't know him. It's just the servant, because he's unnamed, because that's not why he's important. He's important because he's the master's servant. And he's been given the sacred responsibility of finding a girl for the master's son, for the heir. And how does he know who's the right one? How does he know who's the right one? Well, here's how he knows. There is in the desert an ethic of hospitality. We've talked about this before. That in the desert, in order to survive getting across the desert, you always welcome the stranger into your tent. And if you're by a spring, which is where you usually camp, you'd welcome the stranger to share the water of the spring. The girl who has internalized the ethic of the desert, even though she lives in a town, that girl, she's the one for my master. She's the one for my master. So he's looking for that girl. He's looking for that girl. And what happens? So he makes a, what's the sign? The one who says, I'll give you water. You go to the well to meet girls, by the way. Any single men, you're looking for a young woman, forget JDate, Match.com. You know, forget singles. You go to the well. You know, you look for a girl with nice jugs. That's how it works. It says it right here. I'm reading the Torah. Come on. Don't think that way. I'm looking at the Torah says that. Come on. So what happens is she comes out. No, he had scarcely finished speaking when Rebekah, who was the firstborn, was born of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Abraham's brother. So who is she? She's the niece. Now, this is going to really make the world interesting, because that makes Rebekah and Isaac what? First cousins or second cousins? Second cousins? And then what's going to make it even more interesting, of course, is that Jacob is going to go back next 2 weeks, and he's going to meet Rachel, who is his second cousin on one side and his first cousin once removed on the other side. I'm a sugar in a family. The maiden was very beautiful, a virgin whom no man had known. She went down to the spring, filled her jar, came up. The servant ran and said, please let me sip some water from your jar. And she said, drink, my lord. And she quickly lowered her jar upon her hand, let him drink. And when she let him drink his fill, she said, I'll also draw for your camels until they finish drinking. How much water does a camel drink? Anybody here drive an SUV? Ever go to a service station and fill it up? That's a camel. How many camels does he have? 10. How many? You figure out. This girl is not only hospitable, she's epish stark. I mean, you got to be strong to draw that much water out. And she's going to water the camel. I mean, come on, right? The man stood gazing at her, suddenly wondered whether the Lord had made his errand successful or not. Holy, look at this, right? And when the camels had finished drinking, the man took a gold nose ring weighing half a shekel and 2 bands for her arms and 10 shekels and said, he's going to pay her, right? And pray, whose daughter are you? And she replied, I'm the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nahor. And she went out, and there's plenty of straw, so she invites him in. Come home with me. And the man said, blessed be of the Lord, God of my master Abraham, who has not withheld his steadfast faithfulness from my master. What happens next in the story is that there is another dance of manners, and it parallels the story of Ephron and the buying of the cave. But in this dance of manners, it's a question of acquiring the girl. The servant is going to go to the home, and in the home, he's going to very gently tell the story of how he was sent. and how he chose her. And he's going to ask for her, right? And she's going to agree very quickly. The family's not so sure. And we're going to begin to get a little bit of a sense of who this guy is, who the family is, because that's going to become important in the next generation. Go ahead. Yeah, but she's not 3, because no 3-year-old could lift that much water out of a... Right. She's young, she's new, she's cute, she's new, and... She's not 3. She's not 3. I guarantee you she's not 3. She's not marriageable at 3, you know. Right. She's marriageable. She's a teenager. She's, you know, she's a teenager who wants to run away from home with a stranger who gives her gold. Well, we'll get to that. I want to show that part too. Yes, please, Vaksha. Yeah. Where's that? Verse? What page? Yeah. 28. No, oh. Here's why. This is a different kind of thing. This is a different anomaly, okay? There are places, let me go back a second. There were Torahs all over the world by the end of the rabbinic period. In the year about 1000, there was a family, there were 2 families of Sofrim, of Torah writers in the city of Tiberias, the Ben Asher family and the Ben Tibin family. The Ben Asher family and the Ben Tibin family basically had the biggest factories for making Torahs in the world. And they got together and decided to standardize the writings of all Torahs. It was the Ben Ashers and the Ben Tibins in the year 1000 that standardized the text of the Torah and the calligraphy of the Torah. When you buy an English Bible, an English Hebrew Bible, it might say on the front, according to the Masoretic text. Masorah, it's the Masorah of Ben Asher and Ben Tibin. There were certain places so what the Ben Ashers and the Ben Tibins did was gather up what they thought were the oldest, most authentic Torah scrolls. And there were still differences among them. And they decided which one would go into the Torah, right? However, there are certain places where the Ben Ashers and the Ben Tibins found an equal case for either one. So they created a phenomenon in Torah called Kri Uketiv. What you read and what you read out loud, what you say, and what you read when you read quietly. What's written down. In this case, if you look at verse 28, right? The Ketiv is Hana'ar, but the Kri is Hana'ara, right? Correct. That's why the case was made for the other one. So they had 2 traditions. One would said Hana'ar and one would said Hana'ara. And they decided to record both of them. And they recorded both of them. They wrote one into the Torah, but they noted that whenever you read Torah, the other one is to be read. Okay? And that's why you get and you'll see this elsewhere in Torah. Usually there's a footnote that tells you this, but you're going to see a lot of these things in these. There's another one on the next page, right? Whenever you see a little letters, the word written in smaller, look on verse 33, right? There were differences in how the letter in these two different versions, and they decided to write one and say the other. Yeah. They didn't want to lose anything. So whenever they couldn't see a compelling reason to decide one text or the other, they put both of them down, and that's where you get that from. That's different than the kaf we had before. The kaf we had before is actually written into the Torah small. This is not what, if you read the Torah, it would say hanar. But when we say it, we say hana'ara. You see what I'm saying? Okay? Yes, please. Yeah. Go ahead. She says, stark. Jewish women are strong. You don't mess with a Jewish girl. What? Troth? I would assume so, yeah. I mean, you know, I would hope so. But that's how you know she's the girl for you. If she's willing to water your camel, she just might be the one. Come on, you guys. This is what happens. All right. Let's finish this part of the story, page 138. 138, right? After this very long articulated story of the dance between the families, the servant and the families, they let Rebekah leave. Rebekah covers herself, says goodbye to her family, accepts a blessing. If you take a peek on the previous page, just a peek, on the bottom you see the blessing, right? Achoteno atayeh le'afelu ravava. This is the blessing that Nahor, the father, Milcah, the mother, and Lavan, the brother, give to their sister Rebekah as she's leaving home to go and marry Isaac. Okay? She's leaving home to go and marry Isaac. The family knows that Abraham is very wealthy. The family has heard that Abraham is very powerful. But the place where Abraham lives is a frontier. Canaan was a frontier. She's leaving the civilized precincts of Haran to go live in a wasteland, basically. Right? And so they give her this beautiful blessing. And this is the blessing, we'll get to this in a few minutes. This is actually the blessing that you say at the Bedekin in a wedding. At the beginning of a wedding, before we ascend to the chuppah, it's a custom to have the groom identify the bride, and then the family puts a veil in front of the bride's face. And this is the blessing that a father and mother give to their daughter as she becomes a bride. Now, if you turn to page 138, Rebekah and her maidens arose, mounted the camels, and followed the man. So the servant took Rebekah away. Now, we're back in Canaan. Meanwhile, back in Canaan, Isaac had just come back from the vicinity of Becher Lahai Roi, for he was settled in the region of the Negev. So what does that mean? He was settled in the region of the Negev. After the Akedah, where did Isaac go? He didn't go home to Hebron either, nor did he go to Beersheba to be with his father. He went farther south. He went to Arad, right? For he was settled in the Negev. Isaac went out walking in the field toward evening. According to the rabbis, this is the origin of the Mincha prayer. He goes out, and looking up, he saw camels approaching. Now, this is so beautifully cinematic. Now we switch back to Rebekah, right? Raising her eyes, Rebekah saw Isaac. She alighted from the camel. That's not what it says. Look at verse 64. Vatisa Rivka et eneha, vatire et Yitzchak. She raised her eyes and she saw Yitzchak. Right? Right. Vatipol me al hagamal. And she fell off the camel. This is the first documented case of a woman falling for a guy. She fell in love, literally. Now, that's why she was known, by the way, as the klutzy mother of Israel, right? Because she fell off the damn camel, right? Right? And she said to the servant, "Who is the man walking in the field toward us?" Stop. Obviously, we know the answer. So why do they put the question in the Torah? Because remember, questions are always what the narrative is about. Who is this man? Who is he, born late to Abraham and Sarah? Who is he whose big brother was taken away from him when he was a little boy? Because the brother was a threat in some sense. Who is he who was taken up to the mountain and almost sacrificed by his father? Who is he? What is his character like? He is a sort of blank in this story. We get a good sense of Abraham, and we will get a very vivid sense of Jacob. But who is Isaac? That's actually the real question. That's really the question of the narrative. Who is he? How wounded is he from the adventuresome father and the mother? I mean, what is in his character? What's there? It's a really interesting question. Who is he? And the servant says, "That's my master." So she took the veil and covered herself. The servant told Isaac all the things that he had done. And here's the beautiful end of the story. Isaac then brought her to the tent of his mother, Sarah, and he took Rebekah as his wife. Isaac loved her and found comfort after his mother's death. So the beautiful midrash was that the first thing she does is bake challah. No, don't joke, don't joke. The smell of challah baking on a Friday afternoon was the most comforting part of Isaac's life, because it meant that his mother was always there to protect him. And once she died, that sort of lost it. He lost it. She moves into Sarah's tent. So the marriage comforts him. Okay? Something remotely Freudian about that. but he's comforted by that, and he's made whole by that. And there's one last thing, then we're going to go to the worksheet before you leave. Right? Yeah? Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. The tent was in Hebron. So these characters all lived in different places. So it wasn't literally the tent. Right? It can't literally be the tent because Sarah lived in Hebron. And we're now in Be'er Chai Ro'i. Right? So what do we know? It wasn't literally the tent. What does it mean? She moved into that place in his life. Right? She became the nurturing and comforting element of his life. Right? She became the feminine in his life that was missing once his mother had died. She comes to comfort him. Right? One more point. There's two more little notes here, that just little notes that you wouldn't notice unless you were looking carefully. Look at chapter 25. Ready? Abraham took another wife, whose name was Keturah, and she bore him Zimran, Jokshak, Midian, Midan, Ishbak, Shua. How many kids? 1, 2. How old is he? No, you're supposed to say 120 Kenai Nahara. Because look at a 120-year-old man, and he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids. 6 kids? Kenai Nahara. So in his old age, he goes in. Now, who is Keturah? The strongest tradition from the Talmud is that she's Hagar, the young girl that got sent out with the son. And he comes back because he always loved her, because he developed something dear to her. But there's something interesting about it. He never talks to God again, but he marries again and has 6 children. He discovers a different spirituality, a different way of understanding God. Not a God that you chase up to tops of mountains, but a God that you find at home in the connection of family. Yes, he's older than all this. Right. But Ishmael was born years and years and years earlier. These guys were all born when he's 120. Figure out how old he'd be at the bar mitzvah. Right? And Abraham willed all Leon to Isaac, the concubines and everyone else. Look at verse 7 on page 140. The total span of Abraham's life was 175 years. Abraham breathed his last, dying at a good ripe old age and contented, and gathered to his kin. His sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar, the Hittite, facing Mamre, the field that Abraham bought from the Hittite. There Abraham was buried, and Sarah his wife. Yeah, well, they're their next marriage. But let me ask you something. Anything interesting about that statement? Who buries him? Ishmael and Isaac. Merv, why is that interesting? How many times in your career did you have to do a burial where the children stood at the grave expressing their rage and anger at their parent, and you had to figure out a way to bring them to some sort of reconciliation? Yeah, separate shivas. How many times this is Rabbi Tomsky, of course, is one of our teachers. How many times does a rabbi have to, first of all, the kids don't get along with each other, right? And they hate the parents. I mean, think about what Isaac and Ishmael could have thought about their father. They were both almost murdered by him. You understand that? Ishmael was sent out into the desert with a bag of water. And it's a forbidding desert. It's not a particularly nice desert to walk around in. And Isaac, you took him up to the top of a mountain and put a knife at his throat. If there ever were 2 sons in the world who had a right to say, "We ain't coming to the funeral, Rabbi," or had a right to sit in the back row and not say a damn thing, there were these. But these 2 sons, number one, reconciled with each other, and reconcile with the father. They reconcile with the Myra. Yes, they honor their parents. They overcome their own resentments and angers. And in some sense, there's some forgiveness for the parent who did what he did. There's some forgiveness, which is a very precious thing and a very rare thing. It's very difficult for each other and for the parent. And that's a very, very rare and precious thing. Let's take one more minute, because I know you want to daven. So I gave you a worksheet here with Sheva Brachot. So the customs of weddings that we have now are not the same as the custom that you saw here in the Bible, but it begins here in the Bible. So the custom in the Bible is what? A wedding has two parts. If you were to schematic this, what would you get? Number one, the two families get together and have a negotiation over the finances of the family, right? The two families get together and there's a negotiation over finances. And then once the negotiation over finances is complete, then she gets up from her place and moves into his domicile. That basic structure of marriage is still the basic structure of marriage. Okay? First you have a negotiation. And we do that through this, the rabbis standardized that in the first century through the instrument of a ketubah. In a ketubah, there are about 4 different financial transactions that are agreed to. Number one, groom pays bride's father an amount of money to compensate him for the investment he's made in his daughter. Right? So, for example, Nina's father sent her to Brandeis University, so I owed him a bucket of money, right, to marry my wife, right? He had a right to have all that back, because I was now taking her, right? So that's number one. That's transaction number one. Transaction number two, bride brings with her into the community property of the marriage a certain amount of wealth called dowry. Dowry. Every girl is beautiful, but a girl with 100,000 shares of Microsoft is positively ravishing. That's in the ketubah as well. That property is community property, belongs to the to both of them, not just to the group. All right? Third, the bride, what she brings from her family home, she has a right to exclude certain items from community property. So if he should divorce or predecease her, those things go to her heirs, her family, not to his. So for example, she owns a Rembrandt, right? And she doesn't want the Rembrandt to go to the undeserving children of the third marriage, right? After she's been dispensed with. So she writes into the ketubah, he can have all my property except the Rembrandt. Right? You follow that? Right? If you're Ivana and you own certain things, and then he marries Marla, I'm just taking a theoretical case, and then he marries, what's this, Melania, whatever her name is, Vanilla, right? Right? You don't want Melania's kids to get your jewelry. So you write into the ksuba that the jewelry is excluded from community property. Is that clear? Okay, that's the third transaction. The fourth transaction is that groom puts in escrow, puts into an account, an amount of money sufficient to support bride for 1 year, or promises it as part of his estate. So if he should die or predecease her, she gets that money. That has two functions. One, it is a deterrent to divorce. If you know divorce is going to cost you 1 whole year's money, you'll think twice. Second, if you do divorce or he predeceases her, she now has sufficient funds to live for an entire year so she can get her life put back together. Those are the 4, did I get those right? Yeah. Those are the 4 financial transactions that are included in the ketubah. When we sign a ketubah, we are essentially doing what the servant and Rebekah's family did when he went there. That's the beginning of a Jewish wedding. So far, so good? The second part of a Jewish wedding is called nisuin. Nisuin literally means to lift up or to schlep. And you literally are moving bride into groom's domicile, which is what you saw here. She's on the camel going to his house, right? You literally do that. In the rabbinic period, you would literally move her from her father's house into his house. And you'd have a parade, and that's the wedding procession. The wedding procession was once literally a parade across town carrying all of her possessions as she moved from her house to his house, and she moved into his house, and that was the wedding. That was the wedding. The rabbis, however, wanted to make something out of this. So what they did was, there was a custom that they wouldn't move directly into his home. They would create a sort of a cabana, a tent, a pavilion, where the couple would spend a week together as part of their marriage week, and they would have a feast every night. That pavilion, it's sort of a tent, the love shack, is where they lived for that week during the wedding feast. And it was halfway between her house and his house. That's called a chuppah. That's what it means to enter into chuppah. You went into this pavilion, and every night of the week there would be a big wedding feast, and then bride and groom would repair to that place and have the evening together. Right? And you say blessings every night. Right. Then what the rabbis did was they tore the sides off of the chuppah because they spiritualized what is physical. And they made the bride and groom stand beneath or within the chuppah as a symbol of sharing themselves with each other, but we do it in the presence of the whole community, so the whole community can participate in this moment, and that's the origin of the custom of chuppah. That's where it comes from. So you get, it's the same basic structure as you see here. The negotiation first, and then she goes and enters into his home second. That's the negotiation. There's one other piece to it, which is the text. Someone had a question. Yeah, the custom is that a bride got a 7-night feast as she became a bride. So every night they would, but instead of going into the house, they would set up the feast in a place halfway between the two homes so that both families would participate, and the couple would spend that night, each night, in the chuppah, in this pavilion, this tent, this love shack. Okay? Here are the Sheva Brachot. So in the 2nd century, the 3rd century, the rabbis finalized these texts as a way of sanctifying this moment. And I just want to point out to you what it says so that we just set the theme of the thing, and then we'll call it a day. Right? I gave it to you both in Hebrew and English. You begin with Borei Pri Hagafen, because all simchas begin with wine, right? And then look, the next 4 brachot, right? Baruch atah melech haolam shakol bara lichvodo yotzer ha'adam. Yotzer ha'adam a second time, right? The next 3, and then number 6. 4 of the brachot deal with the creation of the human being. You say, Baruch atah Adonai, blessed is God, creator of the universe, who creates the human being, Yotzer ha'adam. You say that at a wedding, not at a bris. Why do you say that at a wedding and not at a bris? No, that could be. You could say that, but I think it's deeper than that. I think it's because the rabbis understood that a person's creation isn't finished until they bind with somebody. That you're talking about from the beginning of Genesis, man is split in half, remember? The tzela, we said, was half, not rib, but half. Man is split in half, and man and woman brought back together again make one. So it's only at the moment of bonding that man and woman become one, become a full human being. And so you have these beautiful brachot. Shakol bara lichvodo, everything you created for your glory. Yotzer ha'adam, creator of man and woman. This one is interesting. Baruch melech haolam asher yatzar et adam b'tzalmo. You created God in your image. B'tzelem demut tavnito, and created him in your form. V'hitkin lo mimenu binyan adayad. V'hitkin lo, you gave a tikkun to him. Binyan adayad. Binyan, a building or a structure, adayad, that is forever. You created man in your image, and then you gave the human being the capacity to live immortally. How? Through reproduction. You gave human being the secret of immortality through the capacity of families to recreate themselves. Baruch atah yotzer ha'adam. And then the 6th one, sameach tisamach re'im ha'ovim. This is a beautiful one. Sameach tisamach, bring joy to these loving friends. As you brought joy to your creatures, Began Eden Mikedem, in the Garden of Eden a long time ago. Every couple who stands before us is Adam and Eve. Every couple who stands before us under a chuppah is standing under the tree of life. And every couple who stands before us is then carrying out the great primal human drama of beginning the species all over again, and of beginning the drama of human life all over again. Every wedding is a cosmic beginning. It's a cosmic beginning. That's what's being indicated here. So the first theme of the wedding is creation. Here's the second one. I'll be done in a minute, Yossi. Baruch atah melech haolam. Look at the last bracha. Asher bara sason v'simcha chatan v'kala gila rineditza ched v'avach v'shalom reyud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 words for joy. God creates joy. Just think of that for just a second. Joy isn't the fulfillment of your desires. Joy isn't the absence of pain. Joy is a positive thing that God created that has been built into the universe, and you, human beings, you are invited to come and partake of it. And wedding is this moment of partaking of joy. The idea that God creates joy, that joy is a cosmic, metaphysical reality, and it's there for you to partake. Now, we're going to move from that creation, the creation metaphor, to a whole different metaphor. 3 times in his prophecy, the prophet Jeremiah said to the people, a destruction is coming. A destruction is thorough, brutal, horrible, and terrible. I'll read it to you because I want you to hear it, because it's so brutal, right? He says, let me find you a good one here. Assuredly, says the Lord of hosts, because you would not listen to my words, this is chapter 25 of the prophet Jeremiah, I'm going to send for all the peoples of the north, for my servant, King Nebuchadnezzar, imagine that, of Babylon, and bring them against this land and its inhabitants and against all the nations round about. I will exterminate them and make a desolation, an object of hissing, a ruin of all times. I will banish from them the sound of happiness and gladness, the voice of bride and groom, the sound of mill, the light of lamp, the whole land shall be a desolate ruin. 3 times Jeremiah says to the people, the destruction that is coming is so devastating. Lo yishama bi'arei Yehuda u'bechutzot Yerushalayim kol sason v'kol simcha kol chatan v'kol kala. Never again will the cities or the hills of Jerusalem ever hear the sounds of bride and grooms. Never again. And then Nebuchadnezzar came and he destroyed the city of Jerusalem. And Jeremiah changed his tune, literally, and said to the people, once again, Od Yishama Bi'arei Yehuda. Once again, I promise you that the cities of Judah and the streets of Jerusalem will ring with the sounds of joy and gladness and bride and groom. So what is every wedding? Every wedding is a testimony to the prophecy of hope that followed all of those consistent prophecies of destruction and despair. Every bride and groom is the first step toward the redemption of the world and the redemption of Jerusalem, the redemption of the Jewish people, the redemption of the universe. Every bride and groom. And that's what we say here, right? The rabbis took the 2 words, od, right, which was his second word, lo was his first word, and they simply changed it to mehera. Let it be. Let this couple be the first one of a whole string of those who will stand before us in joy and gladness. So every bride and groom, every wedding is a redemptive experience. Not just for this couple, not just for his parents and her parents, they're getting rid of their kids, but for all of us, and that's why every wedding becomes a moment of celebration. It all begins back with Isaac. So let's go back and read it. Thank you. Have a good Shabbos. We'll see you next week. Take care.
עוד ישמע בערי יהודה ובחוצות ירושלים. עוד ישמע בערי יהודה ובחוצות ירושלים. כל ששון וכל שמחה, כל חתן וכל כלה, כל ששון וכל שמחה, כל חתן וכל כלה. איי ראי 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 תראי ראי 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 כל יישמע בהר יהודה ובחוצות ירושלים, כל ששון וכל שמחה, כל חתן וכל כלה. אתה מוכן? כל ששון וכל שמחה, כל חתן וכל כלה.
Does anybody say Kaddish here? People who say Kaddish, kindly please rise. Please rise and turn to page 71. People who say Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעולמה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון חיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם מעולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעולמה, ואמרו אמן. על ישראל ועל רבנן ועל תלמידיון ועל כל תלמידי תלמידיון ועל כל מאן דיעסקין באורייתא, דיבי אתרא הדין ודיבי כל אתר ואתר, יאלהון ולכון שלמה רבה, חינה וחיסדא ורחמין וחין אריכין ומזון הרוויחה ופורקנה מן קדם אבוהון דבישמיא, ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיא וחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו וברחמיו יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. You may be seated. We start on page 96. Jack, where is it? אשרי שביתך עוד יעללו חסלה. 96. Sitting. Where is Jack? Not you. But we don't know it at the moment. תהילת אדוני דבר עולם ועד, ואנחנו נברכיה מעתה ועד עולם, הללויה. Jack, where are you? Yeah.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, hallelujah.
Page 98.
You have to show me because I don't have the mark.
This is yours?
No. You have to show me. לא אסכן לכל גוי, ומשפטים בל ידעום, hallelujah. וירם קרן לעמו, תהילה לכל חסידיו, לבני ישראל עם קרובו, הללויה. לעשות בהם משפט כתוב, הדרו לכל חסידיו, הללויה. כל הנשמה תהללויה, הללויה. כל הנשמה תהללויה, הללויה.
Please rise together, page 100, the final paragraph.
וברוך שם כבודו לעולם, וימלא כבודו את כל הארץ, אמן ואמן. ומצאת את לבבו נאמן לפניך. כמו אבן במים עזים. ויאמינו באדוני ובמשה עבדו. והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. נשמעת כל חי, תברך את שמך.
You may be seated, page 104.
ברכי נפשי את אדוני, וכל קרבי את שם קודשו. האל בתעצומות עוזך, הגדול בכבוד שמך, הגיבור לנצח והנורא בנורותיך, המלך היושב על כיסא רם ונישא, שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו. בפי ישרים תתהלל, ובדברי צדיקים תתברך, ובלשון חסידים תתרומם, ובקרב קדושים תתקדש, ובמקהלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל. להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפאר, לרומם, להדר, לברך, להלל ולקלס, על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות. דוד בן ישי, עבדך משיחך, ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו. ברכות והודות מעתה ועד עולם, ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך אל חיי העולמים. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ואלמד דברי חירותי ואמליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל. שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה. דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
Jack, we continue on page 107 as we rise together for Baruch.
את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני ברך לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני חלום יוצרו ובורך אשך עושה שלום ובורא את הכל.
You may be seated. We continue, page 107.
כל יודוך והכל ישבחוך. הבד בלך גואלנו לימות המשיח ועידו מלך משינו תחיית המתים. אל אדון על כל המעשים ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה גודלו וטובו מלא עולם ודבונה סובבים אותו רב ידיגאי על חיון הקודש ונדר בכבוד על המרכבה זכות ומישור לבני חיסו חסד ורחמים לבני כבודו טובים ביורות שברא אלוהינו צרם בדעת בבינה ובסגל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב מלאים זיו פיגים ונוגה נאה זיווה וכל העולם שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם עושים ביים הרצון קונם פר וכבוד נותנים לשמו צהלה ורינה לזכר מלכותו קרא לשמש ויזרח אור רע ויתקין צורת הלבנה שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום כי יפרת וגדולה שרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש לאל אשר שבת מכל המעשים מבאים אשר ישראל ויושב כי חווידו לפי הלו שזה בורך צורנו מלכנו וגאלינו כולם בודרים ירמיהו בקדושה וטהרה בשירה ובזמרה ומברכים ומשבחים ומבארים ומריסים ומקדישים וממלכים את שמו אל המלך הגדול הגיבור והנורא הקדוש שפה ברור רבינים הקדושות כולם כאחד עונים ואומר יהיה ובירא קדוש 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 ויופני מחיון הקודש ברעש גדול מתנסים לנאומת שרופים ליומדיו משבחים ואומרים ברוך יבוא אדוני אור חדש על ציון תאיר ונזכה חולון ומהיר ליאורו ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות אהבו רבות
Page 111, גדר בציציות.
וקרבתנו לשמך גדול השם באמת להודות לך ולייחדך ביאהבה ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל ביאהבה
Page 1 to go.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך וביתך, ולכלך בדרך, ושופך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וטפתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
לדור ודור קיים, ושמו קיים, וכיסון אחון ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיים. ודור חיים אבל שרינו ולכם אמת שעת. גואלינו גואל אבותינו יצרנו צור ישועתנו פודינו מצינו מעולם שמחו. אין אלוהים זולת וחי זאת אבותינו תומי לא מגן אמת אדוני. בית שם אומר הבדילות ליל יום הרחום יורח משה ובני ישראל הכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם מי כמוך לימד אדוני מי כמוך הנורד ילוד עוז יפל שירה חדשה שבחוג יולים לשמחו על שפת הים יחד כולם עודו ומליכו ואמרו אדוני מלוך לעולם ישראל צור ישראל גובה בישראל ישראל ובדרך יהודה בישראל גואלנו פנה צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל ברוך אדוני כל ישראל.
Turn to page 115b as Aaron leads us in the opening words of the Amidah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ומביא גואל לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי מתים אתה רק להושיע משיב הרוח ומוריד עד גשם מחכה חיים בחסד מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורוכך הורים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני אפר מי כמוך בעל גיבורו ומי גולך מלך ממית ומחיה ומציח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים
קדש את שמך בעולם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה לזה ויאמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות אז בכל הרעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיע בקול מתנסים לעומת שרפים לעומתם ברוך יום העירו ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומך מלכנו מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך הלב בבינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך ממקומך מלכנו מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך מתי תמלוך תמלוך בציון מתי תמלוך תמלוך בציון בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועת תשכון בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועת תשכון תתגדל ותתגדש תתגדל ותתגדש תתגדל ותתגדש ודוח ירושלים לך לדור ודור לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים לדור ודור לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים ועינינו יראינו מלכותך כדבר יעבור ושירי מוזר על ידי דוד משיח צדקך ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהי ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור נגיד גדול לכל הנצח נצח מרשתך נקדיש ושבחך עלינו מבינות יום של עולם ועד כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה ברוך אתה אדוני אוהל הקדוש.
On page 117 and following, the silent portion of the Amidah, chants for quiet reflection, prayer, and meditation, at the conclusion of which you may be seated.
Page 138, Kaddish Shalem. התגדל וגדל שמי רבה ויול מני מלך יורדתי וימליך מלכות בחייך נמיך נוחלו בישראל וגלה במען קורי וימרו אמן יהי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולם ולמיה ידבר וידבר 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 מנסי וידבר 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 שמי קודישו וריח לילה מגבחת ושרת ושחת ורחמת מיום יום במהרו אמן יתגבר תולדות קורם ותשמעיה במהרו אמן שלום הרבה מן שמעיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל במהרו אמן שלום עלינו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל וימהרו amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Should say Shabbat in Jema, which is Swahili for Shabbat Shalom. Many of you don't know, but I was in Kenya until just a couple days ago. So I'm a little jet lagged, so you have to forgive me if I fall asleep in the middle of a Torah reading. But then again, I'd just be like everyone else, so it'd be totally fine. It's good to have everyone here. Shabbat Shalom. It's nice to be back at Valley Best Shalom. Let's all stand up. Please turn to your left and your right. Just to wish us Shabbat Shalom, a happy Thanksgiving weekend to all who are gathered here. Kaz, are you reading for us? Shabbos. Kaz, are you going to read Torah for us? Right now? Okay, I got to take the Torah off first because amazing. It was amazing. It was really, really amazing. Yeah. want to say Yasher Koach to Jack and to Aaron for leading us earlier this morning. If you've been honored today with opening the Ark or carrying the Torah or being a Gabbai, would you go ahead and come forward at this time as we remain standing and turn to page 139 to begin our Torah service.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai ve'ein kimasecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'bemeshaltecha v'chol Adonai Adonai melech Adonai Malach, Adonai Melach, Leolam Vayet, Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitein, Adonai Yevarech, Edamo V'Shalom, Avhar Ravagamim, Eitiv Avyezonecha, Et Zion. Tivneh Koemot Yerushalayim. Tivneh Komot Yerushalayim. Tivneh Levad Badachnu Hamelech Ram Venisa Adon Olamim Vayehi bin Soaron Vayomer Moshe Uma Adonai V'yavotzu Evecha V'yaruzu B'sadecha V'mizion Teitei Torah, Ki Mizion, Teitei Torah, Udvar Adonai, V'Yerushalayim, Baruch Adonai, Torah, Torah, Baruch Adonai, Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'Kedusha, B'Midich Shemein, B'Riolem, B'Beyan Arachis, V'Yishmei Gad Yisha, Gad Yisha Yakira, Anoimai, Luj Bechad, Beyan Arachis, V'Yishmei Gad Yisha, Gad Anoimai, Luj Bechad, Yerava Kadamat Yivdach Livi Yoraidak Tash Livi Shari Velivi Veliva Dechol Amach Yisrael Redov Avodechayim Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Shema Echad, Eloheinu, Gadol Adoneinu, Kadosh Shemo Echad Eloheinu קדשו אל אדוני את ציון רוממה שמו יחדיו. לך אדוני הגדולה והגבורה והדברת והנצח וההוד כי יכול בשמיים ובארץ יכול בשמיים ובארץ לך אדוני הממלכה ויעמיד נעשה לכל ראש רוממו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו השתחוו לדום רגליו קדושות קדושות רוממו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו והשתחוו להר קדושות כי קדוש אדוני כי קדוש אדוני כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו למנצח שיר מזמור הריעו לאדוני כל הארץ למנצח שיר מזמור הריעו לאדוני כל הארץ על שלושה דברים על שלושה דברים על שלושה דברים העולם אומר על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים אבו רחמים וירחם עממוסי ויזכור אותנו ויכון אותנו לפליטת עולמים וימהו עלי משאלותינו במידתו ובמידתו ישוע ורחמים.
You may be seated. Nice to see everyone. I hope everyone survived Thanksgiving and had a good time at Thanksgiving. It's nice to see family and friends reunited back here from college and other places from all over the world coming home for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, of course, is one of those perfect American holidays. It's everything Jewish without all the hard stuff, right? So it's got the food, it's got the family, it's got a little gratitude, right? And it's even got the turkey. It's got football, which, of course, is great. It's wonderful. So you get settled in. You can put your blue Sidurim away. We're going to take out our red Chumashim to read the Torah a little bit. Page 127 is this week's Torah portion. And as Rabbi Feinstein was teaching a little earlier, just to give you a quick introduction to kind of orient you and let you know where we are, this week's Torah portion is called Chaye Sarah, which is found in the life of Abraham and Sarah. Sarah actually passed away. It's one of the great sort of literary ironies that the name of the Torah portion is the life of Sarah when Sarah, in the very first sentence, passes away. And in the book, in this Torah portion, again, just to orient you, there are two major exchanges that happened. First is the purchasing of the Cave of Machpelah, which is a burial site for Sarah, and eventually will become the burial site for Abraham and for the rest of the family moving forward. And the second exchange is essentially the two series of exchanges, but really this greater transaction, which is when Eliezer finds a wife for Isaac and finds Rivka. And so two things I want to say about this, just to begin putting in your mind what I'll speak about after we read the Torah a little bit, is what do we know about exchange, about trading one thing for the other? It's a theory of exchange. In fact, one could argue that all morality is essentially based on a theory of exchange, that crime and punishment is a theory of exchange, obviously economics is a theory of exchange, and in many ways relationships is a theory of exchange. The covenant between God and the Jewish people is a theory of exchange. But in both of these situations, both with the cave of Machpelah and with the story of Rivka, the theory of exchange that we understand to be the basis of most of society is completely thrown out the window. I'll give you an example. When you buy and sell things, as Rabbi Feinstein was sort of teaching in the more, as he said, primitive form of economics, but when you're really buying and selling things, stocks, for example, are still traded this way, you try to find the mutually agreeable price. And the power of that exchange has actually come from not the giving of the money, but what you're able to withhold. So you always feel like, hopefully, through the exchange, you're actually getting more value from what you're getting from the other party than what you're giving to the other party. And if both parties feel that way, then it's considered a good sale. So if I feel like I'm buying a widget of some sort and the price I'm paying for that widget is actually not as valuable as I think that widget is to me, then I say I got a good deal on the widget, right? And the person who's selling that widget feels like they got a few extra bucks than what they think that they bought that widget for originally to sell it, then they feel like they got a good deal, and then it's pretty much a good sale. So the power of the exchange isn't necessarily in the giving, it's in what you can withhold. But in the cave of Machpelah, that's just not what happens. And right in the cave of Machpelah, Abraham goes and goes to the Hittite, Uriah the Hittite, and says, I want to buy this cave. And Uriah first says, well, let me give it to you as a gift. Let me give it to you as a gift. And Abraham says, no, I'm going to buy it. And so Uriah names this astronomical price. And Abraham says, okay. In that theory of exchange, in that example of exchange, there is absolutely no withholding on either side. Uriah is willing to give it away for free. Whether he's sincere or not, in this case, is not the point. And Abraham is willing to pay an exorbitant price. So what does that mean for us in terms of morality, in terms of building a life together? So that's the first question. And then you see that play out again when Eliezer meets Rivka, and Rivka is willing to give water to 10 camels, which is, as Rabbi Feinstein was teaching, that's a lot of water. 10 camels drink a lot. That's a lot of water. But whether Eliezer feels like this might be the right bride for Isaac, it's not because anything was withheld, but it was freely given. So the question is then, what does this Torah portion say about what we get when we give, as opposed to when we withhold from each other? And so just begin playing that out in your mind as we begin the Torah reading this morning, about a theory of morality that's laid out in the book of Genesis that's different than what we understand to be the basic theory of exchange we find in Western culture. So that begins on page 127. Kaz, why don't you come up here? You're going to read the Torah for us, what's called the first Aliyah.
ויעזוב יגן ויושיע לכל החוסים בו ונאמר אמן הכל התורה יעמוד ורבקה לאה הכהן ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו ואתם הדבקים באדוני אלוהיכם חיים כולכם היום.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayahiyu Haye Sarah Mea Shana Vesrim Shana Vesheva Shanim Shane Haye Sarah Vatamot Sarah Vikirya Arba He Havram Be'eretz Canaan Vayavo Abraham Lispod Lisarah Valiv Kota Vayakom Abraham Mea Panei Meito Vaydaber Al B'nei Lemor Yevdeshav Anohi Imahem Tanili Auzakever Imahem Vekura Meiti Milefanai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
יעמדו הרב יוסף בן יצחק ובנם אשר בן הרב יוסף דנה ודינה הלוי.
אדוני עמכם, ברכו את אדוני מבורך. ברוך אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Vayanu v'nehei Abraham lemorlo Shema'enu Adoni Nasi Elohim Ata B'tohenu B'mivhar Kivarenu Kivor Et Metecha Ish Mimenu Et Kivro Lo Yichle Mimaha Mikfor Metecha Vayakom Abraham Vayishtachu le'am haaretz livnei.
אמת תורתנו הקדושה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורתו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
וברכת גומל.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם הגומל לחייבים טובות שגמלנו כל טוב.
מי שגמלך כל טוב הוא יגמלך כל טוב סלע. יעמוד דוד ירמיהו בן
יהודה לייב ויהודית נכד דבורה.
יהודית נכד דבורה שלישי.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Vaydaber itam lemor im yesh et nafshehem likbor et meti milafanai shemauni ufiguli befrom ben sohar vaynten li et melra hamafpela asher lo asher biksei sadehu besef malay yidnet not li betochem lahu zakaver befron yoshe beto b'nei bayam befron hafiti et Abraham beoznei b'nei lecho v'ashariro lemor.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
יעמדו. משפחת קופמן לעלייה רביעית. Touched it all, guys. You are next week, Paul. Should be Bayetze. That's your good teacher you got here.
Baruch Hu es Adonai Baruch.
Baruch Adonai Amvorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Olam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Adonai
I'm gonna give it to you after because I don't.
Amen. Lo Adoni Shema'eni Hasadeh Natati La V'amira Asher Bo Lecha Netaticha Le'nei B'nei Ami Nedati Allah Kivor Meitecha Vayishtachu Avraham Lifnei Am Ha'aretz Vaydaber El Ephraim Ve'oznei Am Ha'aretz Lemor Imatalu Shema'eni Natati Kesef Hasadeh Kaf Mimeni Evek Berameti Shama
ויען עפרון את אברהם לאמור לו, אדוני שמעני ארץ 400 שקל כסף ביני ובינך מהי ואת מתך כבור וישמע אברהם אל עפרון וישקול אברהם לעפרון את הכסף אשר דיבר באוזני בנכת 400 שקל כסף עובר לסוחר. Touch the Torah together, all of you. Touch it, because you do. Bottom of the page together. ברוך אתה.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
You did great. You'll be very proud of you. Kaz was bar mitzvah last Saturday afternoon. He did great. יעמדו חנה בת חיה, רחל בת שרה, רחל בת חנה לעלייה החמישית. תשתתו.
Baruch et Adonai Amborach
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Baruch Adonai Amborach Le'olam Vaed Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim V'natan lanu et torato Baruch atah Adonai Noten haTorah
The fifth aliyah is on page 130, 130, top of the page.
Amen. Vayakom Sedefron Asher b'machpelah Asher lifnei mamre Hasadeh v'amara asher bo V'chol ha'etz asher basadeh Asher b'chol gevulo saviv L'Avraham למקנה לעיני בנכת בכל באש ארירו ואחרי כן קבר אברהם את שרה אשתו אל מערת שדה המכפלה על פני ממרא חברון בארץ כנען ויקום השדה והמרה אשר בו לאברהם לאחוזת קבר מאת בנכת. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת בחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
יעמדו גיל בן דוד ולאה ואימו ונירה בת יצחק ואסתר לעלייה השישית.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Vavraham Zaken, Papa Yamim Vadonai, Berakhet Avraham Bakol, Vayomer Avraham, Elavdo Zikan Beto, Hamoshel Bechol Asher Lo, Simna Yadcha Tachat Yerechi, Ve'ashbiacha, Badonai, Elohei HaShamayim, Ve'Elohei HaAretz, Asher lo tikach isha livni mibnot הכנעני אשר אנוכי יושב בקרבו.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
No, you stay there, you stay there. You move to my side. Seventh Aliyah. יעמדו. you. משה דוד בן? אברהם שלמה ומשה דוד לעלייה שביעית.
ברכו את אדוני יברך.
ברוך אדוני יברך לעולם.
ברוך אדוני יברך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם. אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן. כי אל ארצי ואל מולדתי תלך, ולקחת אישה לבני ליצחק. ויאמר אליו העבד, אולי לא תביא האישה ללכת אחרי אל הארץ הזאת. היא אשר אשיב את בנך אל הארץ אשר יצאת משם. ויאמר עליו אברהם, ישמר לך, פן תשיב את בני שמה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נתן בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעולמה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייך וביום אחד ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יש מרבה מבורך לעולם ולעולם מעולמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחת ונחמת דמירן ואמרו אמן. תעמוד החזן טובחיה בת יעקב וציוויה ברכה מפטירה חזקי. The maftir you find on page 141 verse 16.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim ve'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Elehem b'nei Yishmael ve'ele shemotam bechatzrehem uvtirotam shneim asar nesiim leumotam ve'ele shenei chayei Yishmael me'at shana ushloshim shana ve'sheva shanim vayigva vayamot vaye'asef el amav vayishkenu mechavila ad shur asher al pnei mitzrayim bo'acha ashura al pnei chol echav nafal. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
יעמדו המגביה והגוללת.
We rise together as we lift and bind the Sefer Torah.
Okay, Michael, down and up, down and up. וזאת התורה, and sit, ששמו לפני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה.
All right, the Haftarah this morning is from the book of Kings. It's on page 142.
Good morning. Thank you for coming to my bat mitzvah. No. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai abocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'invi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. V'hamelech David zaken bayamim vayechasu babegadim ve'lo yicham lo vayomeru lo avadav yevakshu ladoni hamelech na'ara vetula ve'ameta lifnei hamelech utilo sochenet ve'shacheva bevekecha ve'cham ladoni hamelech vayevakshu na'ara yafa bechol gevul Yisrael vayimtzeu et Avishag hashunamit vayaviu otam lamelech. Ven hana'ara yafa ad me'od vatehi lamelech sochenet vatesharetehu ve'hamelech lo yeda'a. ועדוניה בן חגית מתנשא לאמור אני אמלוך ויעש לו רכב ופרשים ו50 איש רצים לפניו ולא עצבו אביו מימיו לאמור מדוע ככה עשית וגם הוא טוב תואר מאוד ואותו ילדה אחרי אבשלום ויהיו דבריו עם יואב בן צרויה ועם אביתר הכהן וידזרו אחרי אדוניהו וצדוק הכהן ובניהו בן יהוידע ונתן הנביא ושמעי ורעי והגיבורים אשר לדוד לא היו עם אדוניהו ויזבח אדוניהו צאן ובקר ומרי עם אבן הזוחלת אשר אצל אין רוגל ויקרא את כל אחיו בני המלך ולכל אנשי יהודה עבדי המלך ואת נתן הנביא ובניהו ואת הגיבורים ואת שלמה אחיו לא קרא ויאמר נתן אל בת שבע אין שלמה לאמור הלא שמעת כי מלך אדוניהו בן חגית ואדוננו דוד לא ידע ואתה לכי יצך נא עצה ומלתי את נפשך ואת נפש בנך שלמה לכי ובואי אל המלך דוד ואמרת אליו הלא אתה אדוני המלך נשבעת לאמתך לאמור כי שלמה בנך ימלוך אחרי והוא ישב על כיסי ומדוע מלך אדוניהו הנה עודך מדברת שם עם המלך ואני אבוא אחרייך ומילאתי את דברייך ותבוא בת שבע אל המלך החדרה והמלך זקן מאוד ואבישג השונמית משרת את המלך, ותיקוד בת שבע, ותשתחו למלך, ויאמר המלך מלאך. ותאמר לו, אדוני, אתה נשבעת באדוני אלוהיך לאמתך, כי שלמה בנך ימלוך אחרי, והוא ישב על כיסי. ואתה, הנה אדוניהו מלך, ואתה, אדוני המלך, לא ידעת. ויזבח שור ומרי וצאן לרוב, ויקרא לכל בני המלך, ולאביתר הכהן, וליואב שר הצבא, ולשלמה עבדך לא קרא. ואתה, אדוני המלך, עיני כל ישראל עליך, להגיד להם מי ישב על כיסא אדוני המלך אחריו. והיה כי ישכב אדוני המלך עם אבותיו, והייתי אני ובני שלמה חטאים. והנה עודנה מדברת עם המלך, ונתן הנביא בא. ויגידו למלך לאמור, הנה נתן הנביא, ויבוא לפני המלך, ותשתחו למלך על אפיו ארצה. Gosh, excuse me. ויאמר נתן אדוני המלך, אתה אמרת אדוניהו ימלוך אחרי, והוא ישב על כיסי. כי ירד היום ויזבח שור ומרי וצאן לרוב, ויקרא לכל בני המלך ושרי הצבא ולאביתר הכהן, וחינם אוכלים ושותים לפניו, ויאמרו יחי המלך אדוניהו, ולי אני עבדך וצדוק הכהן, ולבניהו בן יהוידע, ולשלמה עבדך לא קרא. אם מעט אדוני המלך נהיה הדבר הזה, ולא הודעת את עבדך מי ישב על כיסא אדוני המלך אחריו. ויען המלך דוד ויאמר, קראו לי לבת שבה, ותבוא לפני המלך, ותעמוד לפני המלך. וישב המלך ויאמר, חי אדוני, אשר פדה את נפשי מכל צרה, כי כאשר נשבעתי לך באדוני אלוהי ישראל לאמור, כי שלמה בנך ימלוך אחריי, והוא ישב על כיסי תחתיי, כי כן אעשה היום הזה. ותיקוד בת שבע אפיים ארץ, ותשתחו למלך, ותאמר, יחי אדוני המלך דוד לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, האל הנאמן האומר ועושה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. נאמן אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ונאמנים דבריך, ודבר אחד מדבריך אחור לא ישוב ריקם. אל מלך נאמן ורחמן אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הנאמן בכל דבריו. רחם על ציון כי בית חיינו, ולעלובת נפש תושיע במהרה בימינו. ברוך אתה אדוני משמח ציון בבניה. שמחנו אדוני אלוהינו באליהו הנביא עבדך, ובמלכות בית דוד משיחך, במהרה יבוא ויגל ליבנו. על כיסו לא ישב זר, ולא ינחלו עוד אחרים את כבודו, כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו, שלא יכבה נרו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן דוד. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Her son was bar mitzvah, didn't want to come.
Yeah, this
So
is
she
my
felt
son's
bad,
pasha.
you know, so she came.
Not bad, Toby. Maybe you should consider doing this for a living. Sorry, I had to do that. Continue on page 150. We have a new month starting, a month of Kislev, which is the month that holds the holiday of Hanukkah. And the Shabbat before the Rosh Chodesh, we always bless the new month. So turn to page 150. We rise together as Chazan Fox takes the Torah and leads us in the prayers.
יהי רצון מלפניך, יהי רצון מלפניך. אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, שתחדש עלינו את החודש הזה לטובה ולברכה. שתחדש עלינו את החודש לטובה ולברכה. ותיתן לנו חיים ארוכים, חיים של שלום, חיים של טובה, חיים של ברכה, חיים של פרנסה, חיים של חילוץ עצמות. שתחדש עלינו את החודש הזה לטובה ולברכה. שתחדש עלינו את החודש הזה לטובה ולברכה. חיים שיש בהם יראה ושלמיים ויראת חי, חיים שאין בהם בושה וכלימה, חיים של אושר וכבוד, חיים שתבואנו אהבת תורה, אהבת תורה ויראת שמיים, חיים שיבאנו משאלות ליבנו לטובה. אמן. מי שיעשו ניסים לאבותינו וגואל אותם מעבדות לחירות, הוא יגאל אותנו בקרוב, ויקבץ לידכנו מארבע כנפות הארץ, חברים כל ישראל וינועם. אמן. ראש חודש כסלו יהיה ביום החמישי הבא עלינו ועל כל ישראל לדור.
Rosh Chodesh Kislev will begin on Yom Chamishi this Thursday. May it be for us and for all Israel for goodness. Yichatzenu HaKodesh.
יחדשנו הקדוש ברוך הוא עלינו ועל כל עמו בית ישראל, לחיים ולשלום, לששון ולשמחה, לישועה ולנחמה, ולעולם עד.
Amen. You may be seated. Jeff, you can have a seat. Turn to page 151 as Eiley leads us in Ashrei.
Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, od yechallelucha sela.
אשרי עם שאדוני אלוהיו.
Tehillah leDavid, aromimcha Elohai hamelech, vavarcha shimcha leolam vaed.
בכל יום אברכך, והללה שמך לעולם ועד.
Gadol Adonai umhulal meod, veligdulato ein cheker.
דור לדור ישבח מעשיך, וגבורותיך יגידו.
Hadar kevod hodecha, v'divrei niflotecha asicha.
וזוז נורותיך יאמרו, וגדולתך אספרנה.
Zecher rav tuvcha yabiu, v'sitatcha yeranenu.
חנון ורחום אדוני, ערך אפיים וגדל חסד.
Tov Adonai lechol, v'rachamav al kol ma'asav.
יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך, וחסידיך יברכוך.
Kevod malchutcha yomeru, ugvurotcha yedaberu.
להודיע לבני אדם גבורותיו, וכבוד אדם מלכותו.
Malchutcha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor vador.
סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים, וזוקף לכל הכפופים.
Einei kol elecha yesaberu, ve'ata noten lahem et uchlam beito.
פותח את ידיך, ומשביע לכל חי רצון.
Sadik Adonai bechol deravchav, ve'chasid bechol ma'asav.
קרוב אדוני לכל קורב, לכל אשר יקראו באמת.
Retzon l'reya ye'aseh, ve'et she'atam yishma ve'oshiem.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל הרשעים ישמיד.
Tehilat Adonai yedaber pi, v'yinatzah kol basar, shem kodsho le'olam va'ed. V'anachnu nevarech ya, me'ata ve'ad olam. Hallelujah.
Shakach, very nice. Take just a moment now to pray for the state of Israel. Many of you might know that since last week there have been a series of great fires across the country. Some of them are products of natural disasters, some of them products of arson. And it is incumbent upon us that when Israel is in moments of crisis, that we pray for her well-being and pray for the land for peace and the strength of the governments that defend her. So on page 149, Christine, come on forward. Please join us as we pray for the state of Israel. Are you reading in Hebrew or English?
I'm going for English.
Go reading it in English. That's good. Let us read together. Go ahead.
Avinu Shabbat Shemayim, Rock and Redeemer of the people Israel, bless the state of Israel with its promise of redemption, shield it with your love, spread over it the shelter of your peace, guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them, crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us all say, Amen.
Thank you. We take one more moment now to pray for those in our community who are ill. If there is someone in your life, in your circle of friends, family, who are experiencing illness, please rise at this time as I say that Mishaberach, the blessing for healing over them. Mishaberach Avoteinu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. Hu yivarech v'yirapeh kol hacholim b'kihila kadosha. Pause now, please add the names of those in your family and friends who are ill. You blessed our ancestors at the sea and in the desert. Bless these ill friends through us, your witnesses. Give us the wisdom to impart to them courage and hope. Let them know that they have in our holy community men, women, and children who pray for the skill of the physician and who pray for their recovery of body and spirit. And teach us to remember thy words. Out of the void and vastness of the darkness, God said, let there be light. And together we say, Amen. Refuah Shlema, full healing to those who are ill. We're about to return the Sefer Torah. If you've been honored with carrying the Torah or placing it in the ark, please come forward at this time as we return the Sefer Torah, and we turn to page 153. And as the ark is open, we rise as a congregation.
Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Ki nizgav Shemo levado, Oezo alechet v'shavayir, v'yarev v'keret v'yavo, ze'yilachol ha'vidav, Yivnei Yisrael, Amen. Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Mizmor leDavid, Ha'uladonai Avnei, Ha'uladonai Kavod Va'od, Ha'uladonai Kevod Shemo, Yishtachavu leDavid Be'adir Adikod. Adonai Lamayim Elakavodiv, Adonai Lamayim Rabim, Koel Adonai Baba Koach, Koel Adonai Beyadai, Koel Adonai Shover Arazim, Vayshaber Adonai, Tanes Zeharev Hanod, Vayan Gidem Gimoyega. Lebanon Sirion, Kemo Veneremi, Koel Adonai, Chosev Labodesh, Koel Adonai, Achia Mirbar, Achia Adonai, Mirbar Gadesh, Koel Adonai, Yechoel Lera Yarod, Mayagzov Yarod. Kulomer Kavod Adonai Lama Yashav Melech Leolam Adonai Moydein Adonai Yevarech Tamo Evasharov Uvenucho Yomar Ki legardon adadi luchem Torati Aretazo. You can do melody. Ezraili, Ravazi, Giveba, Veto, Veto, Adonai
Be seated for just a moment. I recognize that the hour is late and the weatherman says there's like 100% chance of rain this afternoon and evening, so I'll just take just a minute. So I think as I said earlier, many of you know I was in Kenya up until just a few days ago. And so last Shabbat, last Friday night, I spent the Friday night in the synagogue in Nairobi. It's a fascinating place. So Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya. And I was there, and I was sitting with a doctor from Chicago who had moved to Nairobi about 35 years ago to establish, he's a cardiologist, to establish a cardiological lab in Nairobi, and he never left. He said he was going to be there for just a couple of years as sort of a giving back to the community that as part of his medical training, and of course, as many things go, he ended up making a home and a life there. And so I'm talking with him, and we have a conversation about what is the Jewish community of Nairobi, of Kenya for that matter, really like. And he says, well, it changes every few years because it's full of nomads, more or less, people who come and go, who work for corporations or for governments, and who are coming through and spend 4, 5, 6, 8, maybe 10 years in the country and then are moving on, and they come and go. He says there's only a very few number of us that stay and have made a life here, but the rest have come and go. And sure enough, Friday night they have a dinner once a month, and that dinner is populated by the most eclectic group of Jews that you could ever see. There's a few people who are tourists that were there that were looking for a place for Friday night. There was the usual group of Israeli soldiers that had just finished the army and were traveling the world, and they were in Kenya, and they were looking for a meal on Friday night. You had a number, believe it or not, of Ugandans who had converted to Judaism, who were Ugandan Jews that were in Nairobi for business, and so they were looking for a place for Friday night. There were Jews from Australia, there were Jews from South Africa, there were Jews from Great Britain, there were Jews from Holland, and of course there was a bunch of us from Los Angeles. So you make up this whole group. It's a completely eclectic group of Jews from all over. And it turns out that the synagogue in Nairobi has been there longer than this synagogue has been here. And it's taken up different manifestations over those times, but the community has been together. And it was actually started, it was a gift from the Queen to the Jewish community of Nairobi as the British Empire was beginning to fold back upon itself. And they gifted this small plot of land to the Jewish community of Nairobi, and it was maintained ever since. One more word on how it works. So how do you fund a community like that? The answer actually is through hashgacha. Believe it or not, in Kenya, there's a number of food factories that produce ingredients that are then assembled in Europe and other places. And some of those food factories have to get hechshered, have to have a mishgiach go and actually like supervise. So there's a mishgiach that comes to town from Israel and spends about 4 to 5 weeks in town going through all the factories. And all the fees he collects, he donates to the Nairobi community because it's not his day job. He doesn't need the money. He's paid through another means. And basically that funds them for the whole year until he comes back again. And in addition to that, they have some fundraisers and things. But really, you have this beautiful piece of property right in the middle of town with a beautiful synagogue. It was funded that way. So what came to mind for me on that Friday night, more than anything else, is it was almost like when I was growing up in Texas, and again when I was in Biloxi, Mississippi, working, that in the absence of a plurality of Jews around, Jews seek each other out because they're looking for a place that they can call home. And it's true when I was in Biloxi after Hurricane Katrina for 2 years, there were Jews that would drive 90 miles on a Saturday morning to be with the community because they wanted to be in a place that felt like home. And also in Plano, where I grew up, we had a very small synagogue at the time, and people would come from Texarkana and from McKinney and other places all around, which are way out there, at least at the time, were way out there in the countryside, not so much now. And they would come in because they were looking for a place to call home. And the same is in Nairobi, that every Friday night and every Saturday morning, a very small group of people would get together because these Jews were looking for a place to call home. And then once a month when they had this communal Shabbat dinner, the community would like triple in size, and more Jews from all over the world would know that that's where you go for Friday night dinner on this particular week of the month, because you can get a piece of food there, something to eat, and some community, because you have a place to call home. And so I was thinking about that and thinking about what does it really mean to call a place home? What does home really mean? And of course, this week it's really important for us to think about that, because Thanksgiving is the Passover of American religion. It's the home-based holiday in which you gather together and you see all the people maybe you haven't seen in a year, and you're willing to endure their conversations with them, and even if you disagree vigorously with them, because ultimately Thanksgiving is about finding a place that you call home. So I think about that. What does home really mean? And in our society, when people move around as much as they do, when many folks, many kids, when they leave home, they never come back, or they come back and stay for way too long, depending on your family, that your identity becomes sort of meta. It becomes beyond the physical location of your home, but yet you still have this idea of cleaving to home. So, for example, when I lived in New York, I had a car that was registered in California, a driver's license that I had gotten in Texas, but my mailing address was in New York City. So where was home, right? And from the time that I was 17 to the time I was 29, I lived in a different address every single year. So where's home? As Joseph Campbell says, it's part of the long journey from adolescence into adulthood, is going out and then eventually either coming back or establishing home. So what does it mean to have home? What does it mean to create a home? Not just a house, but a home. And that's where this week's Torah portion, I think, is really important, because that, as I said, the beginning is what is the ethics of the morality, the vision of morality that's set out in this Torah portion that is counter-distinctive to the typical transactions, ethical, moral, immoral transactions that we see out in the Western world. Out there, outside of home, the idea is that you're trying to take advantage as much as possible from the other party. As Rabbi Feinstein taught earlier today, when you're trying to purchase something, you try to get the quote-unquote best price possible. And you know you have a good deal, as I said, if you feel like the value of the thing that you bought exceeds the price that you pay. And the same thing is if you sell, right? If you're selling something, if you feel that the money or property that you got in exchange for the thing that you're selling exceeds the value of the thing you're giving away or selling, then you feel like you got a good deal too. And if both parties feel that way, then you know it was a good sale. So the ethics behind, the morality behind the idea of exchange is how to take advantage of the other party. But the morality of home is very different. The morality, as many of you know, when you sit around the Thanksgiving table, there might be people around that table that you probably might not choose to spend time with if they weren't family. But because they're family, you're going to sit and talk with them. There might even be, and I'm just guessing here, there might be people in your family for whom you share different political views. And that you're willing to engage with them in a conversation even if you vigorously disagree with what they believe in, because they're family. And so what is it about home and family that sets a different type of morality and something to think about? When we're home and when we run the risk of taking advantage of each other, but that's not what the goal is. That's not what the idea is of home. The goal of home is about in the giving to each other instead of the taking from each other. It's about what we give to each other. It's about not winning the conversation necessarily, but about learning something and valuing the presence of another human being. This ethic of home permeates the Torah. The entire book of Genesis asks the question, how do things get to be the way that it is? And what is the idea of home for us? And it begins with a tribe, begins with a family, and extends to a place. The book of Exodus asks the question, what happens when we are taken out of our home? What does the world look like when we're removed from this ethic of home? And what is this other ethic, this other place that results in pain and slavery? And how are we redeemed from that place through the book of Leviticus, through the book of Bamidbar, all the way to Deuteronomy, which is all about going home. And so the ethic of the Torah is about this idea of going home. But it's not home in the sense of just a physical place, although it is that too. It's home in the sense of value, about who you're supposed to be. Remember that the primary ethics in the Torah come from a place that say, remember that you were slaves in Egypt, therefore you shouldn't enslave other people. You shouldn't treat those who live at the margin of society as you were treated, because it's not about exchange. It's not about what you take from others. It's about what you give to others. And ultimately, in the Holiness Code, love your neighbor as yourself, where re'echa, the word for neighbor, doesn't just mean the person physically living in your neighborhood. It means your fellow human being. And that it's about what you give to them, not what you take from them. Unfortunately, that doesn't always work out, and we know that. Even in this week's Haftarah, it doesn't work out. David is passing away, and one of his sons tries to literally take the home away from him. And it stands in counter-distinction to everything that we know, and it's that type of ethic that David pushes back against and ends up with Solomon becoming king. The king of peace, Shalom, which is what Shlomo's name means, becomes king as a pushback against the usurper, the taker, because it's about giving, not taking. And so here we stand in this very contentious political season, and we stand as a community that feels, in many ways, whether you've won or lost, that something was either taken from you or you took something, or that something doesn't feel right. But the question is, can we recover that morality of home, where you feel like you don't need to win the conversation with another person, but just learn something about them and hopefully let them learn something about you, and create that idea of home together. And in this week's Torah portion, when Avraham negotiates for the cave of Machpelah, it's not about what he can take from Ephron. It's about what he can give. And Ephron is not about what he can take from Avraham. It's about what he can give. And the same is true with Rivka and Eliezer. It's not about what Eliezer can take from Rivka. It's about what Rivka can give. And it's not about what Eliezer it's not what Rivka can take from Eliezer. It's about what Rivka can give. And it's not what Eliezer can take from Rivka. It's about what he can give. And if you set up that as a moral beacon, then once we go through life and we go through the next several months together, next several years together, hopefully, we remember that the ethic of home is one that we should hold on to, one that we should love, and learn what we can teach each other and be with each other and not just take from each other. So we rise together now. Let's pray together. Spend a few more minutes. Page 155, meditate on the idea of giving instead of taking, with Chatzi Kaddish and the Musaf service.
ועולמדי ולכתותי וימליך מחותי בחייך ומכנו חיירו בישראל בגלה בזמן קורי וימרו אמן יש מרבה מבורך ולעולם ולעולם ויורמיה וידבר 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 נסרי וידבר 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 שמי קודשו ובדברי אלוהי מכל ברכתה ושירתה דם ירון ויולמה וימרו אמן ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו אלוהי אברהם אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב אלוהי שרה אלוהי רבקה אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא האל העליון גאון מלך חסדים וטובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ומביא גואל לבני בניהם למען שמו ביחד מלך חוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ובוקד שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחייב מתים אתה, משיב הרוח ומוליד הגשם, מכלכל חיים וחסד, וחיי מתים רב יורב. רובן עולים עולים, ובתיר עשורים, ומקיים אמונתו בשם אביך וחבל גבורו ובירו מלך מבית ומחייב ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני המתים. Yam biri biri bay, yam biri biri bay, ay 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 ay, yam biri biri bay, yam biri biri bay, ay 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 ay, yam biri biri bay, yam biri biri bay, ay 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 ay. Yam biri biri vay, yam biri biri vay, ay 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 ay. Nari yitzchak, v'nari yitzchak, k'zod ziyach, zarevei kodesh. המקדישים שמך בקודש ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה לזה ים בירי בירי וואי ים בירי בירי וואי ay 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 yam biri biri bay yam biri biri bay ay 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 ya dua ya diviecha v'kol zer zevi amar kadosh 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 Adonai tzivot melech Lay 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 Kevodo Mareyoedam Sharedam Shoalim Shoalim Zelaze Aye Mekom Mekom Kevodo Leyo Matam Baruch Yom Meru Layla Adonai, Elai, Elai, Leumatam, Baruch Yomeru, Baruch Kevod Adonai, Vimekomo, Hu Yifen, Vrachamim, Vyachane, Hamiyachadim, Shua, Erev, Avoker, V'kol Yom, Erev, Avoker, V'kol Yom, Tamid, Erev, Avoker, V'kol Yom, Tamid, Erev, Avoker, V'kol Yom, Pamayim B'yabor Shema Omrim Shema Eloheinu Hu Avinu Hu Malkeinu Moshienu Ve'yu Yashmienu Ve'rachamav Sheinit Le'yinei Kol Echoi Yod Lachem Le'elogim Ani Adonai ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, גודלך ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך הקדיש, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גודלך. קדושתך נקדיש ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם מבועד יהיה מלך גדול יהיה מלך גדול וקדוש אתה לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים ולנצח נצחים ושבכך עוליינו מפילולי מושלם כי אין מלך גדול וקדוש אתה ברוך אתה אדוני אוהל
Page 158 and following, silent portion of the Amidah. A few moments of quiet prayer, meditation, and reflection, at the conclusion of which you may be seated. Finish your prayers, you may be seated. Continue with Kaddish Shalem, page 181.
Hey, we the bomb in the water, we don't mamma see the dollar, we the good shaw, but you lay lamb with heart of Shirat of Hot of Ramato Damiran Biom Vimeru. Amen. He cabels to battle Horizon Color of New Shmaya Vimeru. Amen. Stommer Rabam in Shemaya, Vechaim, Alino Alcoholis Vimeru. Amen. Oh, say Shalom, you know, yes, Shalom, Alino Alcoholis Roel, Veyimeru. Amen. Ein Keloeinu, ein Kadoneinu, ein Kimalkeinu, ein Kimoshienu. Mir Keloeinu, mir Kadoneinu, mir Kimalkeinu, mir Kimoshienu. No del Eloheinu, no del Adoneinu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adoneinu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adoneinu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shektiru, Avoteinu, Lefanecha et Ketoret Hasa. Hareinu Rishabeach, Adon Agoy, Ladet Gedula, Yoser Reishir, Shelo Asanu, Gigoyeyo Arazon, Velo Samanu, Kemil Verodo Adama, Shelo Sam Chelgeinu Goab, Vayagor Aleinu, Yegor Amoram. Elif Demerak, Malek Yamalachim, Arosh, Venemar Vayadon Kolaret, Bayom Hahu, Bayom Hahu, Yadonai Echad, Oshem, Oshem. Oshem Echad, Oshem Echad.
You may be seated. Continue with Mortar's Kaddish on page 184. If there's someone in your life that you are mourning or you're observing your side the anniversary of a death, please rise at this time. In our congregation, in our community, those who are mourning, we don't let them mourn alone. So if you see someone who's standing by themselves, please cozy up next to them. Let them know that they have a friend in you and a warm place to call home. This week, Valley Beth Shalom mourns the passing of Sandra Wivet, mother of Meryl and Larry Apperson and Todd and Tina Wivet, sister of Les Roden and Marilis Lippo, grandmother of 7 and great-grandmother of 2, as well as the passing of Husheng Sachizadeh, husband of Esther Chazizadeh, father of Nachme Musa Manzoor, Safitis Chazizadeh, Saman Chazizadeh, and Payman Chazizadeh, grandfather of 3. Also, all the yortzites, the anniversaries of death, are found in the back of your Shabbaton. The Mortis Kaddish is found on page 184. Yit Kadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah. Be'amad divrach kirotei ve'amlich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yom mechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'gala v'zman kariv v'yemru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei omaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela minko berchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechamata. Da'amiran bi'ama v'yimru. Amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mermav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. And may God give comfort to all those who mourn, and together we say, Amen. You may be seated. It's my pleasure now to call on Scott Howard, the illustrious president of our congregation, for a few announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi Farkas. First, I want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom, happy Thanksgiving, and to thank Rabbi Feinstein for leading Torah study this morning, and Rabbi Farkas and Kenner Fox and Yossi Dresner for leading our service today with Chris Harden. And we also had Ron Ryder helping out, and Jack Donitz was at the door greeting people. So thank you all. This week we continue. This Wednesday we continue with the VBS College of Jewish Studies. It's Israel since the Six-Day War. The next 3 weeks are going to be very interesting. It's going to be a lot of diversity of thought. This one coming up on Wednesdays with Daniel Levy from the Middle East Project, and he's affiliated with Americans for Peace Now. And then the week after that is Tal Becker. That's on Wednesday, December 7th, and he's been a legal advisor and a senior negotiator with the Foreign Ministry. He's been involved with all the peace negotiations. And finally, over the next 3 weeks, the third speaker we're going to be having is Peter Beinart, who's been a interesting, controversial figure, to say the least, in the in American Jewish movement on when it comes to Israel. So it should be very interesting. I want to wish everybody Shabbat Shalom again, and let everybody know that we have a Parsha discussion in Burdorf today, and we have blintzes for Kiddush in Glazer Hall. Thank you.
Right, and Scott and his family sponsoring Kiddush, so we want to thank him for sponsoring that today. Yes, and also if you are new here, never been here before, or coming back after a long break, please come over, say hello. Let's get to know each other. We'll conclude this morning's service as we rise together. Eileen's going to sing Kiddush for us. Let's hold each other arm in arm as we bless this day.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, ledorotam berit olam, beini uvein v'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz, Uvayom hashvi, Shabbat vayinafash. Al kain berach Adonai, et yom ha-Shabbat vayikadshehu, savrich virotai verabotai, baruch ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Adon olam asher malach terem kol yitzir nivera le'ed nazav ve'rev zogor zayim melech shevod yikra ve'acharek yichlot hakol levado yimloch noriach ve'u haya ve'u hove ve'u yeh tifara ואחד ואין שני להמשיל לו להגבירה ולראשית ולידרלית ולא העוז והמזרח והוא יבחי גואלי זורע בני ויצרה והוא ניסי ומנוזלי מנת כוסי ביום מקרא וידו אבקיל רוחי וידישן ויעירה וירוחי יביאתי אדוני ולא יירא.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah, to do on a